The unexpected encounter. The bustling Earth spaceport hummed with activity, a cacophony of voices from countless alien species blending with the whir of machinery and the occasional roar of departing spacecraft. Ethan Weaver, a craftsman specializing in musical instruments, navigated through the crowd with practiced ease. His weathered hands, calloused from years of working with wood and metal, clutched a small bag containing spare parts he'd come to the spaceport to acquire. As Ethan rounded a corner, heading towards his favorite quiet cafe in the spaceport's lower levels, something caught his eye. Or rather, someone. Amidst the sea of towering aliens and hurried humans stood a lone figure. She was humanoid, but clearly not of Earth. Her skin shimmered with an otherworldly iridescence, almost translucent in the harsh spaceport lighting. What struck Ethan most, however, were her eyes, large, alien, and filled with a desperation that made his heart ache. Before he could look away, those eyes locked onto his. The alien woman took a hesitant step forward, her movements graceful despite her obvious distress. "Please," he said, her voice barely above a whisper, yet somehow cutting through the din of the spaceport. "I need help. I have nowhere else to go." Ethan found himself rooted to the spot, unable to simply walk away. He'd seen his fair share of alien refugees at the spaceport, but something about this woman's plight stirred something deep within him. "What's your name?" he asked, keeping his voice gentle. "Zara," she replied, her alien features contorting in what Ethan recognized as relief at being acknowledged. I was from Alaron, but it's gone now. Everything's gone." The pain in her voice was palpable. Ethan glanced around, noticing the suspicious and sometimes hostile looks other passers-by were giving Zara. He made a split-second decision. "Come with me," he said, gesturing towards the cafe. "Let's talk somewhere quieter." Zara followed him without hesitation, her movements fluid yet cautious, like a cornered animal expecting a trap. Once seated in a secluded booth, Ethan ordered 2 cups of a mild herbal tea, hoping it would be safe for Zara's alien physiology. "Now," Ethan said as the steaming cups arrived, "tell me what's happened. Why are you here alone?" Zara's long, delicate fingers wrapped around the mug, seemingly appreciating its warmth. "My world, Alaron, it was beautiful once. A planet of artists, craftsmen, and scholars, but then the Salarin came." Her voice broke, and Ethan felt a chill run down his spine at the mention of the Salarin. He'd heard whispers about this aggressive alien race, but most had dismissed them as exaggerated tales from the frontier worlds. "They destroyed everything," Zara continued, her gaze distant. "Our cities, our history, our people. A few of us managed to escape, but we were scattered across the galaxy. I've been running for so long, stowing away on ships, doing whatever I could to survive. But now," she looked up at Ethan, her alien eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I have nothing left. Nowhere to go." Ethan sat back, processing her story. He was just a craftsman, living a quiet life in a coastal town far from the spaceport. What could he possibly do for this alien refugee? And yet, he couldn't bring himself to simply walk away. "What do you need?" he asked, surprising himself with the question. Zara leaned forward, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Shelter, work. I can be a servant, a laborer, anything. I just need a chance to start over, somewhere safe from the Salarin." Ethan's mind raced. He lived alone, his workshop attached to a modest home overlooking the sea. It was a solitary existence, but a peaceful one. Taking in an alien refugee would undoubtedly complicate things. And yet, "I'm not looking for a servant," Ethan said slowly, watching as hope dimmed in Zara's eyes. "But I could use an apprentice, someone to help in my workshop, to learn the craft." Zara's expression shifted from despair to cautious optimism. "Workshop? What kind of craft?" A small smile tugged at Ethan's lips. "I make musical instruments. Traditional Earth instruments mostly, but I've been experimenting with adapting designs for other species. It's detailed work, requires patience and creativity." For the first time, a genuine smile graced Zora's alien features. On Alaron, I was a weaver of songcloths, fabrics that could produce music when touched. Perhaps our crafts are not so different. Ethan nodded, feeling a spark of excitement at the possibility of exploring this alien art form. Then it's settled. You'll come with me, help in the workshop, and have a safe place to stay. In return, you can teach me about your world's crafts. Deal. Zora's smile widened, revealing teeth that were just a bit too sharp to be human. Deal, she said, extending her hand in a gesture she must have learned from observing humans. As Ethan shook her hand, sealing their agreement, he couldn't help but wonder what he was getting himself into. But looking at the relief and gratitude in Zora's alien eyes, he knew he'd made the right choice. The journey from the spaceport to Ethan's coastal home was a quiet one. Zora spent most of the trip staring out the window of the maglev train, marveling at the Earth landscapes rushing by. Ethan found himself studying her when she wasn't looking, noting the way her iridescent skin seemed to shift colors in different lighting, and how her movements always carried an otherworldly grace. As they approached his small town, Ethan began to worry about how his neighbors would react to his alien guest. The community was generally welcoming, but they'd had little direct contact with extraterrestrial visitors. "We're almost there," Ethan said as the train began to slow. "My workshop is just a short walk from the station. Are you ready?" Zora turned to him, her alien features set in a determined expression. "I am ready for anything, Ethan. You've given me a chance when no one else would. I won't let you down." Ethan nodded, oddly reassured by her conviction. As they stepped off the train onto the small platform, he could already see curious glances being cast their way. He straightened his shoulders, prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, the human craftsman and the alien refugee walked towards their shared future, neither fully aware of the profound impact their chance encounter would have on their lives and the fate of two worlds. A new life and looming threats. The salty breeze carried the rhythmic sound of waves crashing against the shore as Ethan led Zora along the winding coastal path to his workshop. The alien's eyes widened in wonder at the vast expanse of the ocean, a sight unlike anything on her homeworld. "It's endless," Zora whispered, her iridescent skin shimmering in the golden sunlight. Ethan smiled, seeing his familiar surroundings through new eyes. "Not quite endless, but close enough. Welcome to your new home." As they approached Ethan's workshop, a quaint structure of weathered wood and large windows overlooking the sea, Zora's attention was drawn to the unusual wind chimes hanging from the eaves. Their melodic tones seemed to dance on the breeze, creating an otherworldly symphony. "Quantum resonance chimes," Ethan explained, noticing her fascination. "My latest experiment. They respond to fluctuations in the quantum field, creating music from the very fabric of reality." Zora's alien features contorted in what Ethan was beginning to recognize as a smile. "Remarkable. On Alaron, we had similar concepts, but nothing quite like this." As they entered the workshop, Zora gasped. The space was filled with an eclectic array of instruments in various stages of completion. Traditional Earth instruments like guitars and violins shared space with more exotic creations, crystalline structures that hummed with inner light, and what appeared to be a living, breathing organ made of bioluminescent fungi. "This is beyond anything I could have imagined," Zora said, her voice filled with awe. Ethan felt a surge of pride. "It's not much, but it's home. And now it's your home too." Over the next few weeks, Zora proved to be an invaluable apprentice. Her alien dexterity and unique perspective on sound and vibration led to innovations Ethan had never considered. Together, they created instruments that blended Earth traditions with alien artistry, producing sounds that stirred the soul and sparked the imagination. But as Zora settled into her new life, shadows of her past began to creep in. Ethan often found her staring out at the ocean, her alien eyes filled with a mixture of longing and fear. One evening, as they sat on the beach watching the sunset, Zora finally opened up. The Salarin, she began, her voice barely audible over the lapping waves. They're not just conquerors, Ethan. They're consumers. They don't just destroy worlds. They devour them. Absorb them into their hive mind. Ethan felt a chill run down his spine. What do you mean? Zara's iridescent skin pulsed with dark colors, reflecting her distress. They're a collective consciousness. When they invade a world, they don't just kill. They assimilate. The knowledge, the culture, the very essence of a species, it all becomes part of their hive. That's horrifying, Ethan said, struggling to comprehend the scale of such a threat. Zara nodded, her alien features setting grim determination. And they won't stop with Alaron. They're expanding, always hungry for more. Earth. Earth could be next. The weight of her words hung heavy in the air. Ethan's mind raced, considering the implications. His peaceful life, his art, his entire world, all of it could be at risk. We need to warn someone, Ethan said, standing up. The government, the military, someone who can prepare defenses. Zara's hand shot out, grasping his wrist with surprising strength. No, the Salarin have spies everywhere. If they learn that I'm here, that I've warned you, they'll come sooner. We need to be subtle, to prepare in secret. Ethan sat back down, his heart pounding. Then what do we do? Zara's alien eyes seemed to glow in the fading light. We use what we know. Our crafts, our art. We turn them into weapons. Over the following months, Ethan's workshop became a secret laboratory of sonic warfare. They experimented with infrasound generators disguised as wind chimes, quantum-entangled communication devices hidden within musical instruments, and psychoacoustic barriers that could disrupt the Salarin hive mind. As they worked, Ethan reached out to trusted friends in the community, retired military personnel, tech enthusiasts, and fellow artists. Without revealing the full truth, he gathered a group of allies willing to help protect their town from nebulous outside threats. One crisp autumn morning, as Ethan and Zara were fine-tuning a particularly complex sonic disruptor, an alarm blared from one of their early warning devices. Zara's skin paled, her iridescent colors fading to a sickly gray. "They're here," she whispered, her voice trembling. Ethan rushed to the window, his heart in his throat. In the distance, just visible against the blue sky, a dark shape was descending from the clouds. Its angular alien design left no doubt the Salarin had come to Earth. As the distant shape grew larger, Ethan turned to Zara, seeing his own fear reflected in her alien eyes. But beneath the fear, he saw something else: determination, resilience, and a fierce protectiveness for the world that had become her new home. "We knew this day might come," Ethan said, his voice steadier than he felt. "We've prepared as best we could. Now we fight." Zara nodded, her iridescent skin pulsing with vibrant colors of resolve. "Together," she said, reaching for Ethan's hand. As they stepped out of the workshop to rally their makeshift defense force, Ethan realized that this unlikely partnership, a human craftsman and an alien refugee, might be Earth's best hope against the coming storm. The battle for Earth was about to begin, and the fate of two worlds hung in the balance. The battle for Earth begins. The sky darkened as the Salarin mothership loomed over the coastal town, its ominous presence casting long shadows across the once peaceful landscape. Ethan and Zara stood atop the cliff near the workshop, their hearts racing as they watched smaller crafts detach from the main vessel, descending towards the Earth like a swarm of metallic insects. Activating the quantum resonance barrier, Zara said, her alien fingers dancing across a modified synthesizer. The air shimmered as an invisible dome of sound enveloped the town, creating a shield that they hoped would confuse the Salarin's sensors. Ethan nodded grimly, hefting a peculiar-looking guitar. "Sonic disruptors are charged and ready. Let's hope our audio alchemy pays off." As the first wave of Salarin scouts touched down on the beach, the townspeople took their positions. Retired military personnel manned makeshift barricades, while local tech enthusiasts monitored a network of repurposed satellites and drones. Artists and musicians stood ready with an arsenal of sound-based weapons, their creative spirits now turned to the art of war. The Salarin emerged from their craft, their forms a nightmarish blend of organic and mechanical parts. Their movements were synchronized, evidence of the hive mind that controlled them. As they advanced, a bone-chilling hum filled the air, the psychic signal that preceded their assimilation process. "Now," Ethan shouted, striking a power chord on his modified guitar. A wave of concentrated sound erupted from the instrument, visible as a distortion in the air. It slammed into the front line of Salarin troops, causing them to stagger and falter. Their synchronized movements became erratic, the hive mind's control temporarily disrupted. Zora's fingers flew across her synthesizer, weaving complex melodies that transformed into tangible barriers of sonic energy. The air itself seemed to vibrate with the power of her alien compositions, creating a constantly shifting maze that confused and separated the Salarin forces. But the invaders quickly adapted. A second wave of troops emerged from the ships, these ones equipped with devices that seemed to absorb the sound-based attacks. They advanced relentlessly, their hive mind working to counter each of the defenders' strategies. "They're breaking through," someone shouted from the barricades. Ethan saw with horror that a group of Salarin had indeed breached their perimeter and was making its way towards the town's center. "We need to fall back and regroup," Ethan called out, his voice hoarse from shouting commands and activating sonic weapons. "Everyone, retreat to the secondary defense line." As the defenders fell back, Zara suddenly grabbed Ethan's arm, her alien eyes wide with a mixture of fear and inspiration. "The quantum resonance chimes," she said urgently. "If we can amplify their effect, we might be able to disrupt the Salarin's quantum entanglement. It could sever their connection to the hive mind." Ethan's mind raced, considering the possibilities. It was a long shot, but at this point, they were running out of options. "We'll need to get to the workshop," he said, "but it's behind enemy lines now." Zora's iridescent skin pulsed with determination. "Then we'll have to break through. Together." Armed with their sound-based weapons and a desperate plan, Ethan and Zara made their way through the chaos of the battlefield. They used every trick and tool at their disposal, sonic cloaking fields to avoid detection, harmonic resonators to clear paths through Salarin troops, and psionic amplifiers to bolster their own mental defenses against the hive mind's influence. As they fought their way towards the workshop, Ethan was struck by the surreal nature of their struggle. Here he was, a simple instrument maker, battling alongside an alien refugee to save the Earth from invasion. The music they created together, once a source of beauty and inspiration, had become a weapon of war. Finally, they reached the workshop. Inside, the quantum resonance chimes hung silent, waiting to be awakened. Zara immediately set to work, her alien knowledge of quantum mechanics allowing her to modify the chimes in ways Ethan could barely comprehend. "We'll only have one shot at this," Zara said, her voice tense as she made the final adjustments. "The chimes will burn out after a single use at this power level." Ethan nodded, positioning himself by the amplification array they had built. "Whenever you're ready," he said, trying to keep his voice steady despite the sounds of battle drawing ever closer. Zara took a deep breath, her iridescent skin shimmering with nervous energy. With a nod to Ethan, she activated the quantum resonance chimes. The effect was immediate and overwhelming. A wave of quantum disruption exploded outward from the workshop, visible as a ripple in the very fabric of reality. It washed over the Salarin forces, and for a moment, everything went silent. Then chaos erupted. The Salarin troops began to move erratically, their coordinated attacks dissolving into confusion. Some fell to the ground, while others lashed out at their own kind, the hive mind's control shattered by the quantum disruption. Ethan and Zara watched in awe as the tide of battle turned. The human defenders, quick to capitalize on the Salarin's disarray, pressed their advantage. Within hours, the invasion force was in full retreat, the mothership hastily recalling its troops as it fled Earth's atmosphere. As the dust settled and the quantum ripples faded, Ethan and Zara emerged from the workshop to find a changed world. The town had suffered damage, but it stood undefeated. More importantly, humanity had faced its first extraterrestrial invasion and emerged victorious. But as the initial euphoria of victory faded, Ethan noticed a troubled look in Zara's alien eyes. "What is it?" he asked, concerned. Zara gazed up at the sky where the Saturn ship had vanished. "This was just the beginning," she said softly. "They'll be back, and next time, they'll be prepared for our defenses." Ethan followed her gaze, feeling the weight of her words. The battle for Earth had been won, but the war was far from over. As the sun set on the battered but unbroken town, Ethan realized that their journey, was only just beginning. Aftermath and difficult choices. The weeks following the Salaran invasion were a blur of activity. Ethan's coastal town, once a quiet haven for artists and retirees, had become the epicenter of Earth's extraterrestrial defense efforts. Government officials, military strategists, and scientists from around the world flocked to the small community, eager to study the innovative sound-based weapons that had repelled the alien threat. Ethan's workshop, now dubbed Harmony Arsenal by the media, was a hive of activity. The quantum resonance chimes, though burned out from their one-time use, became the subject of intense research. Scientists worked around the clock to reverse engineer the technology, hoping to create a global defense network based on Ethan and Zara's designs. Amidst the chaos, Ethan found moments of quiet reflection. He stood on the cliff overlooking the ocean, the wind carrying the faint echoes of reconstruction efforts in the town below. The beach, once pristine, was now scarred with the remnants of the battle, twisted metal from Salaran ships, half buried in the sand, craters from sonic explosions, and the occasional shimmer of lingering quantum disturbances. "Credit for your thoughts." Zara's melodic voice pulled Ethan from his reverie. She stood beside him, her iridescent skin reflecting the golden hues of the setting sun. Ethan smiled wryly. "Just wondering how we went from crafting instruments to becoming Earth's first line of defense against alien invasion." Zara's expression sobered. "We may have won this battle, Ethan, but the war is far from over. The Salaran will return, and they'll be prepared for our sonic weapons." Ethan nodded, the weight of responsibility heavy on his shoulders. "So, what's our next move?" Before Zara could respond, a holographic notification flickered to life between them, a new feature of the town's upgraded communication network. The translucent image of General Lakshmi Patel, Earth's newly appointed extraterrestrial defense coordinator, materialized. "Ethan, Zara," the general's voice crackled with urgency. "We've detected unusual quantum fluctuations in the Kuiper belt. It appears as Salaran are regrouping faster than we anticipated. We need you both at HQ immediately." As the hologram faded, Ethan and Zara exchanged a look of grim determination. They made their way to the repurposed town hall, now a high-tech command center that would put most military installations to shame. Inside, they were greeted by a cacophony of activity. Holographic displays showed real-time data from deep space probes, while AI-enhanced algorithms attempted to predict the Salaran's next move. General Patel approached them, her usually stoic face etched with concern. "Our worst fears have been confirmed," she said without preamble. "The Salaran aren't just regrouping, they're evolving. Our latest intel suggests they're adapting their biology to resist sonic-based attacks." Zora's alien eyes widened in alarm. "That's impossible. The speed of their adaptation, it defies all known laws of biology." "Unless," Ethan interjected, a horrifying thought taking shape, "they're not just evolving, they're assimilating." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The Salaran weren't just learning from their defeat, they were absorbing the very essence of the sonic technology that had been used against them. "We need a new approach," General Patel said, breaking the tense silence. "Something the Salaran can't assimilate or adapt to. And we need it fast. Zora's iridescent skin pulsed with rapid color changes, a sign of intense thought that Ethan had come to recognize. There might be a way, she said slowly, but it would require resources beyond anything available on Earth. All eyes in the room turned to her. Zora took a deep breath before continuing. On my homeworld, before the Salaran invasion, we were developing a technology we called the Harmony Nexus. It was meant to be the ultimate expression of our art, a network of quantum-entangled nodes that could create music across vast distances of space. How does that help us defeat the Salaran? One of the scientists interrupted. Zora's alien features set in a determined expression, because with some modifications, the Harmony Nexus could be turned into a weapon, one that doesn't just disrupt the Salaran hive mind, it could potentially overwrite it. The room erupted in a flurry of questions and exclamations. General Patel raised a hand for silence. This Harmony Nexus, she said, fixing Zora with an intense gaze, could it be built on Earth? Zora shook her head. The key components require elements not found in Earth's periodic table. We'd need to venture into deep space, to the remnants of Alaran or other worlds with similar compositions. A heavy silence fell over the room. The implications were clear. Earth would need to take its first steps into interstellar space, and quickly. General Patel turned to Ethan. You've worked closest with Zora and understand this technology better than anyone. Are you prepared to lead this mission? Ethan felt the weight of every eye in the room upon him. He thought of his quiet life as a craftsman, of the workshop by the sea, of the simple joy of creating music. That life seemed a distant memory now. He looked at Zora, seeing in her alien eyes a reflection of his own determination and fear. They had started this journey together, reshaping the fate of two worlds. There was only one answer he could give. When do we leave? The next few days were a whirlwind of preparation. Earth's finest minds worked tirelessly to retrofit a deep space exploration vessel with the most advanced technology available. The ship, christened Harmony's Echo, would carry Ethan, Zora, and a hand-picked crew of scientists and specialists into the unknown. As the day of launch approached, Ethan stood once more on the cliff by his workshop. The setting sun painted the sky in hues of orange and purple, a beauty that now felt bittersweet. He didn't know when, or if, he would see this view again. Zora joined him, her presence a comforting constant in a world of uncertainty. Having second thoughts, she asked softly. Ethan shook his head. No, just saying goodbye, I suppose, to all of this. He gestured to the town below, to the workshop that had been his life's work. Zora's hand found his, her touch sending a familiar tingle through his skin. We carry it with us, she said, her voice filled with emotion. The spirit of this place, of what we built here. It's part of us now, wherever we go. Ethan squeezed her hand, drawing strength from her words and her presence. Tomorrow, they would leave Earth behind, venturing into the cosmic unknown in search of humanity's salvation. The journey ahead was fraught with danger and uncertainty, but in that moment, standing beside Zara as the sun dipped below the horizon, Ethan felt ready to face whatever the universe had in store. As darkness fell and stars began to twinkle in the sky, Ethan and Zara made their way back to the launch site. The Harmony's Echo waited, its sleek form a promise of adventures to come and a reminder of the monumental task that lay ahead. The battle for Earth had been won, but the war for the galaxy was just beginning. And Ethan, once a simple craftsman, now found himself at the heart of humanity's greatest journey, a quest that would take him to the stars and beyond, in search of a harmony that could save worlds. A greater calling. The Harmony's Echo emerged from hyperspace with a silent shimmer, its quantum-entangled engines cooling as the ship decelerated. Ethan stood at the bridge, his eyes wide with wonder as he took in the alien star system before them. 3 suns of varying colors, crimson, azure, and gold, danced in an intricate celestial ballet, their light bathing the ship in an otherworldly glow. Welcome to the Triad system, Zora said softly, her iridescent skin pulsing with a mix of excitement and trepidation. Home to one of the last free outposts of my people. As the ship approached a small, rocky planet orbiting the triumvirate of stars, Ethan marveled at how far they had come. The past 6 months had been a whirlwind of discovery and danger as they scoured the cosmos for the rare elements needed to construct the Harmony Nexus. Their journey had taken them to the shattered remains of Alaron, where they'd salvaged crucial technology from the ruins of Zara's homeworld. They'd braved the psychic storms of the Mind Mist Nebula, bargained with the enigmatic Silicon Collective, and narrowly escaped a Salaran scouting party in the shadow of a neutron star. Now, they had arrived at their final destination, the hidden refuge of Zara's people, and the only place in the galaxy with the expertise to bring the Harmony Nexus to life. As they entered the planet's atmosphere, Ethan gasped. The surface was a breathtaking mosaic of crystalline structures that seemed to grow organically from the rocky terrain. Each formation hummed with a barely perceptible resonance, creating a planet-wide symphony that Ethan could feel in his very bones. The song forests of Lyra, Zara explained, her voice filled with pride and longing. The living heart of our civilization. The Harmony's echo touched down on a landing pad that seemed to form spontaneously from the crystalline ground. As the airlock cycled open, Ethan was hit by a wave of alien sensations. The air was thick with harmonic frequencies, carrying scents he had no words to describe. A delegation of Zara's people awaited them. Like her, they possessed iridescent skin and otherworldly grace, but their features were more varied. Some had multiple sets of eyes, others had tendrils that waved in an unseen breeze, creating melodic tones as they moved. The leader stepped forward, her form shimmering with patterns of light that seemed to convey meaning beyond words. "Welcome, children of Earth," she said, her voice a complex chord that resonated in Ethan's chest. "I am Aria, High Harmonist of Lyra. We have awaited your arrival with great anticipation." Zara bowed deeply, and Ethan followed suit. "High Harmonist," Zara said, her own voice taking on musical qualities Ethan had never heard before. "We come seeking your aid in the creation of the Harmony Nexus. The fate of multiple worlds hangs in the balance." Aria's expression grew solemn. "We are aware of the Salaran threat and of your bold plan to counter it. Come, there is much to discuss and little time to waste." As they followed Aria into the heart of the Song Forest, Ethan felt as though he had stepped into a living instrument. Every surface, every plant, every breeze seemed to be part of a grand, cosmic composition. He glanced at Zara, seeing her eyes shine with unshed tears, the joy and pain of returning to a home she thought lost forever. The next few weeks were a blur of activity. Ethan and his team worked tirelessly alongside the Lyran scientists, combining Earth's innovative quantum technology with the aliens' mastery of harmonic resonance. The Harmony Nexus took shape, a network of crystalline nodes that, when activated, would create a quantum field capable of encompassing entire star systems. But as they neared completion, alarm klaxons shattered the melodious atmosphere of Lyra. Aria burst into the laboratory, her usual composure shaken. "The Salaran," she announced, had a voice a discordant mix of fear and determination. "They found us. A massive fleet approaches, larger than any we've encountered before." Ethan's heart raced as he looked at the holographic display. Hundreds of Salaran ships were converging on Lyra, their hive mind focused on a single goal: the assimilation of the planet and the destruction of the Harmony Nexus. "How long do we have?" Ethan asked, his mind already racing through possibilities. "Hours at most," Aria replied grimly. "Our defenses are strong, but against such numbers." Zara stepped forward, her eyes blazing with determination. "Then we finish the Nexus now. We may not be able to save Lyra, but we can ensure its sacrifice isn't in vain." The next few hours were a frenzy of activity. As the Lyran Defense Forces engaged the first wave of Salaran ships, Ethan, Zara, and their team worked frantically to complete the Harmony Nexus. The song forests trembled with the distant sounds of battle, crystal spires shattering as Salaran weapons found their mark. Finally, as the sky burned with the fire of falling ships and the air filled with the screams of the dying, Ethan connected the last node. The Harmony Nexus hummed to life, its crystalline structure pulsing with otherworldly energy. "It's now or never," Ethan shouted over the chaos. "Zorro, it's your song that needs to guide it." Zara nodded, stepping into the center of the Nexus. As the Salaran forces breached the final defenses and poured into the laboratory, she began to sing. It was a song unlike anything Ethan had ever heard, a melody that seemed to contain the essence of entire civilizations, the grief of lost worlds, and the hope for a harmonious future. The Harmony Nexus amplified her voice, sending it cascading through quantum space. The advancing Salaran troops faltered, their hive mind overwhelmed by the music of creation itself. Ethan watched in awe as the invaders began to change, their cybernetic implants falling away, their individual consciousnesses reasserting themselves. As Zara's song reached its crescendo, a blinding light engulfed everything. Ethan felt himself falling, tumbling through space and time, Zara's melody the only constant in a sea of chaos. When the light faded and Ethan's vision cleared, he found himself back on the bridge of the Harmony's echo. Zara stood beside him, her form shimmering with residual energy from the Nexus. On the viewscreen, the Salaran fleet hung motionless in space. "Did it work?" Ethan asked, his voice hoarse. Zara nodded, tears streaming down her iridescent cheeks. "The Salaran hive mind is gone. They're free, individuals again, for the first time in eons." As they watched, the Salaran ships began to disperse, no longer bound by their singular purpose of conquest. The threat that had loomed over the galaxy for so long had been neutralized not by weapons of destruction, but by the power of harmony and individuality. Ethan turned to Zara, seeing in her eyes the weight of all they had accomplished and all they had lost. Lyra was gone, sacrificed in the final battle, but its legacy would live on in the newfound peace that now had a chance to flourish across the stars. "What now?" Ethan asked, suddenly aware of the vast, unexplored universe that lay before them. Zara smiled, taking his hand in hers. "Now we rebuild, we explore, we create new harmonies across the cosmos." As the Harmony's echo set a course for Earth, carrying news of their victory and the promise of a new era of interstellar cooperation, Ethan realized that his journey had only just begun. From a simple craftsman to a cosmic peacemaker, he had found his true calling among the stars, not just as a maker of instruments, but as an instrument himself in the grand symphony of the universe. The battle was over, but the song of creation played on, with humanity and its alien allies now free to add their own unique melodies to the cosmic chorus.